everyone, welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about 3 things I wish I knew before I started my consulting interviews. First of all, I want to give you a brief introduction about myself. So I did physical natural sciences for my undergrad in Cambridge. After that, I moved on to do a PhD in engineering. So you can see I'm from a very technical background, and back then I didn't know anything about business at all. But towards the end of my PhD, I came across strategy consulting, and I actually became very interested in it. So in 2019, last year, I applied for about 15 different companies, including 2 of the MBBs, Big Fours, and also other life science related companies. So this is because I was very interested in life science, and also I worked in the relevant industry during my PhD. I got to the interview stage with 12 companies, got through the final round with 7 of them. At the end, I got an offer from the LEK for their life science specialist position, and also I got another offer from EY Pathernal for their summer intern position. So I think based on my experience, I have gone through more than 20 interviews. I just want to share some tips and tricks I learned from my experience, and hopefully that can be relevant to you. Okay, so the first point is do not try to remember any frameworks during your interviews, please. So I actually got rejected because of this twice. So the feedback I got from interviewer was, although I got the correct solution, but it sounded like I was remembering some sort of frameworks, and therefore they could not proceed me to the next round. So just listen to that. I got the correct solution, however, I was still rejected because of this. So I think this is actually a very good point, because consulting companies are looking for people who can think like consultants, who can solve problems structurally, but not who can remember 100 different frameworks and apply them. So I think my suggestion is, at the beginning, definitely read case in point, definitely learn a lot of very comprehensive frameworks as much as possible. But when you actually do your case, try to tailor them specifically for the case and also for the industry that you're working for. So for example, if you think you can apply the same framework for another case in a very similar industry, this is not specific enough. So I think that should give you a guidance of how specific your framework should be. So the second point is always know what you're looking for in a case. So in this point, I actually prepared 2 layers. So the first layer is understand the actual question. So think about who your client is, whether he is the CEO of the firm or a PE firm who are looking to acquire this company, because your answer will be different depending on who your client is. And also think about the geographically and also time scope of this question. One example is if you are asked to calculate the market size of the whole EU, don't just to calculate it for the UK. And another example could be if the company is looking to get the return on investment in 2 years, maybe after calculating the annual revenue and cost, consider to time it by 2 to take into the consideration of the 2 years mark. The second layer is, once you have understood the scope of the question, have some sort of natural instinct of what you're looking for to help you answer those questions. So these can be either quantitative or qualitative. Quantitative, I can think about an example when a company is looking to invest in some new technology. Maybe you can think about the break-even point, or how much return on investment they're looking for. And secondly, if you have list of qualitative information, I always find it helpful if I can list them and prioritize them in a table. So this will actually help me to organize my thinking and also prevent myself from drowning in the pool of information I was given in the case. So I think once you have a clear understanding of what you're looking for in order to solve this case, you can actually save yourself a lot of time, and at the same time I find it helps with my communication as well, so I can communicate more precisely and more clearly. So the third point is the fit interview is as important as the case interview. So a lot of people spend 90% of their time and effort to prepare for case interviews, and I'm actually one of them. But you can never get through your interview without passing the fit interview. So different companies actually arrange the fit interviews differently. Some of them have them in the first round, some companies have them in both rounds. I actually had a group fit interview once and it was actually quite fun. So naturally, probably I'm not a very bonding person, and sometimes I can even be a little bit socially awkward. I think this is maybe because of my technical background, I don't know. My top tip is to prepare what you can for the fit interview. So this would include the standard questions, why consulting, why the firm, and why you. But don't sound like you have memorized all the point. And also secondly, maybe more importantly, is to read relevant articles, read the news, especially in the kind of industries that you're very interested in. In one of my interviews, the questions I was asked is not the ordinary type of questions I can think about, but I could actually relate that to a recent article I read, and I actually mentioned the article in my interview and gave some of my own understanding and my own views. And at the point, I could tell that the interviewer was probably quite impressed. So I think this is a very good way for you to stand out, even if you didn't do as well in the case interview. But if you have some shining point in your fit interview, you can still get through in the final round. So these are the 3 tips I have for you today. I hope you find them helpful. If you have any more questions, feel free to leave a comment below. I will read and I will get back to you. I may also include some of the questions in my later videos. Thank you!